Hi, friends. Today I'm going to do a quick reading on Senator Lindsey Graham out of South Carolina, who just recently passed, his sister, Darlene Graham, and Mitch McConnell. I'm going to do Mitch McConnell last. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ask just several questions for each one. I'm going to make it quick. But I just wanted to ask a couple of questions about each one of these people. So Lindsey Graham passed a few days ago, and he had just returned from Ukraine to talk to Zelensky and to give him his support. If anybody knows, he was a huge supporter of Ukraine in the Republican Party. He really loved Ukraine and backed them 100%. So I don't know how that's going to play out now, but he was a great fan of Zelensky's. So let's see what's going to happen. Okay, now the first question, when he passed, our country now, we are full of people who believe in conspiracy theories. So when he passed, people were saying that he was probably poisoned because he had just come from that part of the world, and a certain party. Um, His name starts with a P, and he's over the former Soviet Union. He's, according to some, known for poisoning his enemies. So they were saying that Lindsey might have been poisoned because he was a fan of Ukraine and a fan of Zelensky. So what we're going to do, I'm going to ask, did Lindsey Graham die of natural causes? Did he die of natural causes? Did Lindsey Graham die of natural causes? Yes or no? And I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna pull four cards for Lindsey, four for his sister. I have some questions about her, and four cards for Mitch McConnell. Four cards each. So the first question I'm going to ask is, did he die of natural causes? Yes or no? Um, The second question I want to ask about Lindsay is a question that people have been asking for several years. They want to know, was Lindsey Graham blackmailed? Was he being blackmailed by anybody in this administration? Because he did really change his outlook when it came to our leader. And what really made people notice it was he was best friends with John McCain. And he wasn't such a big fan. As a matter of fact, he had run for the presidency itself. So he wasn't a big fan of the present leader at first. So a lot of people were thinking that maybe he was blackmailed. So I'm going to ask about that. That's my second question. Um, and then, okay, I'll just ask those two questions, and I'm going to pull four cards, and I want to see what we get. Oh, I know what I had to ask. He had just come back from that trip. How was he feeling? How was he feeling when he arrived here in the United States from talking to Zelensky, giving him his support? How did he feel when he actually got back here to the United States? Let's see. Four cards. Four cards for Lindsay. First question was, did he die of natural causes? Was he being blackmailed? And how did he feel? Okay, four chords for Lindsay, I'm dropping. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, now the first card I got was the King of Cups. And the question was, did he die from natural causes? This is a yes card. He died from natural causes. He was not poisoned or anything like that. Um, the King of Cups, I think, is representing him at this point. Um, he was a diplomat. Okay, the King of Cups a lot of times is a diplomat. And many times he's a diplomatic king. But in this case, he was being a diplomat between Ukraine and Russia. Um, I think he was emotionally balanced when it came to this particular issue because he loved Ukraine and he supported Ukraine. Um, so in this particular case, I think he was a tolerant leader, he was supportive, and he was balanced on this issue. He knew where he stand and he wasn't ready to change his support on Zelensky or the Ukrainian people here. Okay, so I think he did die of natural causes. Um, okay, it says emotional manipulation. Um, let's see, what else could we say about this? He was balanced, supportive leader, tolerance, empathetic. This is him. I think he knew where he stood here and he was trying to do the best he could for the Ukrainian people. And it just maybe he wasn't taking care of himself. And when you get older or anybody, when you're traveling and you are on a plane for 14, 15 hours or whatever amount of hours it took, but hours in one position, it's not healthy. He was what, 71? He was in his 70s, so he wasn't a spring chicken, and maybe he wasn't taking care of himself, um, you know, like he should, or maybe getting enough rest or something. Okay, but I think he did die of natural causes. Okay. Now, the second question I asked was Lindsey being blackmailed at any time? Because we had seen sort of a flip-flop on the support for this particular administration. At first he was anti him, you know what I'm talking about. And then he turned into his BFF. Now, when I think about when our president first got in, um, Lindsey had been best friends with John McCain. So it was kind of shocking to see him get so friendly with this particular president because he had actually maligned John McCain, in my opinion. He had insulted him, and that was his best friend. But anyway, so people wanted to know, were they trying to blackmail Lindsey? Was it something that they had on Lindsey that he didn't want to get out? And this card says no. Okay, it says no, they weren't blackmailing him. But let me show you this. It is a money card. And it is somebody trying to hold on, if you can see it, trying to hold on to his money. He's holding his money in his arms. He's standing on his money here, so you can't get to it. He's got money on the top of his head. So this is somebody that feels a need to hold on to his money. So I'm going to interpret this as maybe they told him, listen, either you're going to support us or we're going to make sure, um, excuse me, we're going to make sure that you don't keep your position, in the Senate. Or maybe they offered him, money. He is holding on to money. So they could have, I'm not saying, and this is for entertainment purposes only, but the pentacles did come up. So maybe he's just trying to conserve what he has. Maybe he loved his position. Maybe he loved being a senator from South Carolina and he wanted to hold on to his position. Maybe he felt like he had worked hard for it and he's going to hold on to it. Um, I think he was a person that he loved having power. You know, most people that run for these type of offices do. Uh, I think he liked the stability because the people in South Carolina are liking, they kept electing him. And so I think he liked the stability. And also this card talks a little bit about self-protection. Okay, maybe he thought this would protect him, protect his finances. And I'm thinking this card says something about overspending. Maybe he spent a lot of money and he wanted to keep the money flowing. And it also talks sometimes this person could be just a little bit greedy. I'm not saying he is, but I think it had something to do with him wanting to hold on to his position and his monies here. So I don't think they blackmailed him, but I think he just wanted to keep his position. He loved his job. Okay, now the next question I want to know is how was he feeling when he came home? Um, from Ukraine, from talking to Zelensky. Okay, now this card um, talks about, see, it's the Nine of Swords. So this is somebody that's having a hard time sleeping here. I don't know if you can, he's having a hard time sleeping. So maybe he wasn't feeling well when he came back, or maybe he was anxious about something. Maybe he was worried about something. Okay, this card talks about worry, it talks about depression. So I wonder why he would be depressed. Because it seems like they had a good meeting. I don't know why he would be depressed. But it talks about insomnia, it talks about trauma, talks about despair and hopelessness. So I'm just wondering. I'm looking at all these negative words here. And according to the press and the message that we got from the administration, that they had a wonderful talk between Ukraine and Russia. But maybe he knew something that we weren't privy to. And he really was a supporter of Ukraine. So I think maybe it's something that had him just a little bit anxious. Well, not a little bit, because look, this is somebody that's really upset, holding their head, got their head in their hands, upset, can't sleep, and you've got nine swords. So this is somebody very, very upset, feeling hopeless, despair. Let's see, what else did it say? Inner turmoil, inner turmoil. So I'm just wondering if and this is for entertainment purposes only, YouTube, but I'm just wondering if it was some type of what could I call it? Some type of backstabbing maybe, or some type of trickery that they wanted to do to Zelensky. Maybe they were trying to lie to him about something. Maybe not necessarily him, but maybe this administration wasn't going to do what they were promising. Maybe they weren't going to keep their word, and Lindsey found out about it because he looks pretty upset here. He's distraught. He can't sleep and he's anxious. So that might not have helped him as far as his health is concerned. Okay, and I pulled one more card, and this is the Four of Swords, and this is somebody, like I said, that is exhausted. And I don't know if you can see it, but this person is laying on a coffin. Now, this doesn't mean that the person is dead here, but this means that he's exhausted. So maybe that trip was just too much for him. That flying, the long hours, the stress of the negotiation. Maybe he found out some type of backstabbing. It's possible backstabbing when it comes to Zelensky. Maybe they weren't really planning on keeping their word to him, and Senator Graham found out. Because whatever it was, it's got him upset. He's upset about it. So that's what I got for him with his question, with the questions about him. Now, his sister. I read about a week ago that they asked her to um sit in for him until the election, to represent him until the election. Okay, I think I heard the other day, yesterday, I think it was, that she has decided that she's going to go on and run. She's going to run um, for his office. So my question is, are they going to be able to basically control her? She's a Republican, she's a conservative woman. But what I did read about her is that has been a professional for years and that she worked in the Department of Disabilities. And so usually when people work those type of jobs, they may not, you know, be liberal, like me, or, maybe they might be conservative, but um, they are concerned about people. And I really, truly think that Lindsey Graham, and when I read about the sister, I think they love South Carolina. Now, I'm sure they love the country too, but they are from South Carolina. They love their state and they're going to do what the constituents, I think, want. And I think that goes for her. I think she is not going to always vote the way they tell her to vote or say what they tell her to say because I think she's her own woman. Because here recently too, she worked as South Carolina's commissioner for the blind. So she's worked with people with disabilities. She's worked for people um, that, for the organization for the blind. So I think she's a conservative, but she's a conservative that has a heart and cares about people. So I don't think they're going to be able, if they're thinking they're going to control this woman, I don't think so. But let's see. So my question is, that's my opinion, but let's see what the court say. My question is she going to vote and think the way the Republican Party and this administration want her to all the time? Okay, I'm gonna pull four cards, and then she's deciding that she's going to run against the Democrat, who is another female too. So it's going to be two women running for his the office that he was in. So she's serious, but I think what she's really serious about is doing what she feels is best for the people in South Carolina. That's what I think. Okay, we're gonna see. Four chords. Her name is Darline. Darline Graham is her name. His baby sister. I think she's about 10 years younger than him. Darline Graham. Four chords. Okay. So my first question was, is she going to vote or think or act the way that they want her to? In other words, is she going to be their puppet for the next few months? Okay, or thereafter if she wins. She is going to run for office. She's not a politician, but she decided she's going to run. So I'm not saying that she's going to win against the Democrat. I'm not saying that, but is she going to be a puppet for this administration while she's there? And the answer is no. Okay, this is if they think that, they're delusional. See, this is your delusion and illusion cards, delusional cards, because here's um a dog and a wolf, and what they're doing, they're howling at the moon. They're howling at the moon. So I think if they think the Republicans think they're going to control her, I don't think so. Um, so she does have a lot of fear and anxiety, though. She's a little bit nervous about things when it comes to filling his shoes. Um, but it says that this is a number 18. And it goes on to say that when you reduce this, number on the card, it goes down to a 9. And this is talking about completion and, listen to this, selflessness. So she is a person that thinks about other people. She may be wealthy, she may have prestige, but she's not, she thinks about others. In other words, she's got a heart. Um, okay, what else could we say about this particular card? Okay, it says she does have some fear. I'm thinking somebody it says something about misinterpretation. It's a little darkness too. She's feeling a little bit anxious about taking his place over the next few months. And she does have a few little insecurities because she's not a politician. She hasn't been in politics before, so she's feeling a little bit anxious and nervous about this. Okay, now the next card that I got next to her is the Tower card. Now, I don't know why the Tower card would be next to her like this. Um, let's see. It says sudden change. Well, here's what we could say. She wasn't expecting that this death of her brother was a shock to everybody. Nobody was really expecting that, and her included. So this is a tower situation. It caused her a lot of upheaval and chaos in her house. This was a total disaster for her because I think she was really close to her brother. Um, let's see, what else could we say about this? Oh, it's a personal transformation. This is going to be a big change. She and her brother, I think, were close. And so she's got a lot of fear. This was a total disaster for her. It was a collapse in her life, and it's a stormy time. Okay, so here's a tower, and anybody knows that tower card means that this is a total destruction, total disaster. It could be a tower, it could be talking about, you know, um, his position, um, maybe his home. Okay, I see people falling out the window here because the lightning has struck it. Okay, so the next question I want to ask is, let me ask one more question. I just thought about this one. How does she feel when the FBI, Cash Patel and his guys, how does she feel about them coming searching her brother's house? Because that was really not normal. Usually the family cleans out the house, they go through the papers, if anything that they needed, they could have got it together. But why did they come and search his house? And how does she, okay, I won't go in so much as to why, but how does she feel about that? How does she feel about them coming in and searching her brother's home? One court. Okay. Now this is the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups. Okay, and this is somebody that has so many things in front of them, and so many choices. It's hard to choose. So it's a card of confusion. She was wondering why were they doing that? And she was a little bit confused about it, I think. Um, it's an illusion. She's searching for a reason. Why would they do that? So she didn't like it. I don't think she liked it at all. She felt like she should have been going through his things, and she felt like she lost control here. People coming in, going through her brother's personal things. She didn't like it at all. And let's see, what else could we say about that? Okay, she felt like she was losing control and that should have been her responsibility. And since this tower card is right next to this, um, I really don't think she liked it because I pulled this one right after the tower cord. And I think she felt chaos. She felt, this added to her stress. She was already really upset about losing her brother. She's the baby sister, losing her big brother. She's upset, and then them coming in, going through his things that probably didn't make her feel better, you know. So I don't think she liked it, okay, at all. I don't. Okay. All right. And the card that I pulled before I pulled this one was the lover's card. And here's what I'm thinking. I think that she is taking his position because she loved her brother. You know, uh she's gonna try to do a job these next few months to keep his name up. I think she really loved him. And I think she's gonna go by her values too. They're not going to be able to change her values. She's a person that has values. I think that they were like two peas in a pot. In a pod. She and Lindsay. I think they were really tight. Okay, and what else could I say about this? She does have values. Um, she's not going to be somebody that just always obedient. She's going to try not to make bad choices. So on some things, she might not decide the way they want her to decide, because I think she really liked her brother a lot, and she's going to try to um, go by values that she has. She's not going to change for them. And then the last card before I pulled that extra room was a chariot card, and I think this is telling me that she is going to have courage because this is her and she's controlling the reins. See, this is somebody that's controlling that chariot. She's controlling these two beings or animals right here. She's taking the reins. So I think she's going to take the reins in this position. I think they're going to be surprised. She's probably going to try to do a good job. And I don't think she's going to be able to, she's not going to cow down. She's going to have courage. This is a card of courage too. This chariot card. It's a card of somebody moving forth, going forth. And I think she really, she's a little bit anxious about it, but she's excited about it taking control too at the same time. I think she's going to be self disciplined. I think they in for some opposition when it comes to Darlene. I think she's going to trick them. Okay, so that's what I got for her. Okay, let's pull on Mitch McConnell. I'm not going to dwell too much on poor Mitch. Now, I didn't like him politically at all, but so we'll see. I don't really get joy out of anybody suffering. So what they want to know is what people want to know, is he really still living? Is he even in the land of the living? Because some people feel like the Republicans are hiding something. They're hiding something. Nobody's heard from him. And then a couple of Republicans said that they talked to him, you know. So I don't know if I believe that or not, but we'll see. We're going to ask. Is he still in the land of the living? Okay. I pulled four cards. Okay, now the first card that I pulled was the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Okay. Ten of Pentacles reversed. Now the Ten of Pentacles uh means prosperity, um, happiness, people surrounded by luxury and wealth, family, um, just happiness and wealth, financial security. But this is coming in the reverse position for Mitch. So here I'm thinking it's the dark side of wealth. Okay, this is the dark side of wealth. Maybe, and I'm thinking because I got this card, this is not so much him. This is his fellow politicians in his Republican Party. I think when it says the dark side of wealth, I think that they are trying to hold on to their power. Their power is money. Money is power. So they're trying to hold on to this his position because they are afraid of failure. They want to keep their stability, and they don't want to be when it's in the reverse, it means lack of resources. So you know the Republicans don't want that. They don't mind about the lack of resources for me and you, but them, they want to hold on to that money. That's my opinion, and that's for entertainment purposes only, YouTube. But I think this is the dark side of wealth, and they are they're fearing failure and loss here. So I think that's kind of telling me they may be really exaggerating when it comes to his health or lack of. Okay, now the next card is the Five of Cups. Now look, see this? This looks like a dark black cloak. What does that look like? That looks almost like a death card in a way. And so it's somebody with their back turned. And I think because um, it's the back turned to us, I think, he's moving away. And he's got what, three cards down that he's lost. He's got two remaining. So I don't think he's all the way here. I think I think he's in, well, I won't say it, but well, yes, I will. I think he's in a coma. I think he's on life support. This looks like somebody moving away. And because he's moving away, that means I'm thinking his life force is moving away. And I think he may be in a coma or coming in and out of consciousness here. It says moving on, personal setbacks, self-forgiveness. Now, some people have said that have been in comas in ICUs that they can hear um, everything that's going on around them. That maybe as they go in and out, they're talking to maybe people that were their ancestors. They're talking to people that they've lost. Um, so I think he's in a coma. I really do. And I think he's moving away from the life force instead of moving toward because his back is um he's got his back to us. Okay. And I think I'm right here because the next card talks about where's the Eight of Cups card, but look, that's somebody that's leaving all his cups and moving away. So the cups are things of goodness and happiness. Not saying that death is totally terrible, but he's moving away from here. This is things that are positive in these cups, and he's walking away from it. And they're walking away, kind of tells me he's walking away from life. I think he's in and out. I think he's in and out of consciousness. See here, look, you got the moon card here. Moon means illusions, delusions. He's in a dream state, I do believe. And he's walking away from life. Uh, okay. Let's see. What else could we say? Okay, it says aimless drifting. Yeah, that says it all. Aimless drifting. He's drifting in and out of consciousness. I think Mitch is in a coma. And I think I'm right here because the very last card that I got from Mitch is the Eight of Swords. Now that's somebody that can't move. Look, he's restricted or she's restricted in that picture. Got the swords in the back. He's not surrounded by swords, but the swords are in the back of him or her in this particular card, and they can't move. Okay, they're restricted. It goes on to say the person feels like they're in prison, like you're in a body, um, but you can't really come out of that state of being in a dreamlike state. It goes on to talk about the person feels entrapped, like you're entrapped in your body. You want to talk, you want to say things, you want to communicate, you want to live, but you can't. You're in a dreamlike state. So if I were to answer the question according to the courts, do you think Mitch is even still alive? I would say yes, he's alive, but I would say barely. I would say that he's probably in ICU. Well, you know he is, and that he's going in and out of consciousness. And it may be one of these situations when they ask the family, it doesn't look like he's going to come back this way. We're asking for permission to pull the plug type of situation. And, a lot of times relatives don't want to give up on their loved one, so they're going to wait it out as long as they can. But, then at some point it's just really just putting off the inevitable, you know, and you want to just let the person go on and be at peace. So I would say, yes, he's still living, but I think he's in a dreamlike or coma type of situation. Okay. All right. So that's what I got, folks, to these questions on Lindsey, Mitch, and Lindsay's sister, Darlene Graham. Okay. So love and light to all. Blessings. Bye.